I'm an aromatherapist, and I would like to take you through the blending factors of essential oils. And there's this very, very simple little blending chart that I have on my website and in this video that you have to see as your go-to chart when you're using essential oils, because essential oils cannot be used straight from their bottle. They have to be diluted into a carrier oil before we can use them on our skin. However, for sniffing them for healing purposes called smell therapy, they can be used neat. So we're also going to talk about the size bottles and using them for perfume, for massage, for skincare, and all of those wonderful things, and our body's biorhythm. So I'd just like to mention that when you're making a moisturizer for yourself, you don't put moisturizers on during the day, and all the big department stores naturally want you to so that you use more, but your body actually is pulsating out during the day and pulsating in the evening. So the best time to heal your skin is of a night. Talking about nighttime, that's the best time to pick essential oil plants as well, because if you were to hold a leaf or a piece of fruit up from a tree that you're going to distill essential oils from, and probably you won't do that, you'll just buy your oils, but let's say you were going to. Of a night time, you could shine a torch on it and you can actually see the little molecules that hold the essential oil inside the plant or the fruit skin, etc. It's so fascinating, but during the daytime you can't see that. And not only that, once the daylight comes and the weather starts to warm up during the day, as it most often does, the essential oils tend to decrease, and then of an evening they increase again. So the best time to pick would be in the evening, and that is why farmers hire people to start very, very early in the morning at sunup. Okay, moving on. Biology is a very important part of aromatherapy, and if you're going to study aromatherapy, then naturally you will learn the biology of the plants and the chemistry of the plants. For home users, we're probably just going to break that down quite a bit for you today. With the tree of life, there is a grouping that biologists use, and this is called the phylogenetics. And we'll talk more about that later on as well. The most important thing for you to understand as a home user is learning I'll see if I can grab a pointer here, and let's hope this works, is learning the family that the essential oils come from, the genus and the species. All of this would be covered, as I said, if you're going to become an aromatherapist. When you download the PDF file, it's important to read these notes that I've put here, but I'm trying to cut them down a bit for this video, so not to make it too boring, but you're not trying to become a chemist or a biologist, so therefore it's not important for me at this stage to go through all of that with you. And anyway, that'd take a year or more. It's just that there's so much misinformation on the internet, and some people say that there's no such thing as a first grade essential oil. And today, before we talk about the blending factors of essential oils, I want to prove to you why that is wrong. Moving along. So I'm hoping this pointer will show up in the slides. This is the first time I've done this. So we have the common name, which is bergamot or bergamot. Then we have the genus name, which is citrus. And then we have, I think species comes under bergamia, although they write it C, bergamia. The family is from Rochia. Now, the herb is called something totally different, and that will be in your notes. So all you need to remember is that when you're buying your essential oils, buy them from someone who is well certified. So you go onto their site and you have a look for all their certificates, and then from that you'll be able to judge in a better way. How do I say it? Yes, you'll be able to judge in a better way. So don't just read this, because some people on the internet, such as I noticed on eBay, and I bought a couple of the oils to test, was saying that it was citrus bergamia, but you could tell that they'd mixed it with the other type of bergamot, which is a herb. So needing to be a bit careful there when purchasing essential oils, and you can always email me if you need help when purchasing oils. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the different methods of distilling essential oils so that they end up here in a nice little bottle ready for you to use. There's a lot of processes that the oils that the plants need to go through first, and then the distilling of the oils. CO2 is done with carbon dioxide, and this is a very, very strong type of essential oil, better used in perfumery. However, the scientists are saying that this is the more true way to gain an essential oil from a plant. But you do need to be very, very careful, because they are very, very strong, stronger than a steam distilled essential oil. And I've written some notes there for you, and when you get your PDF file, you can have a read of that. This is cold expression, and they use a large hammer-like item inside the vat with the vegetation to gain the essential oils from. However, cold depressed oils are slightly different. It's mainly olives and jojobas and coconut and a few other oils that are distilled this way to make cooking oils out of. We're looking for the first grade again, which is the cold pressed, and it will say it's cold pressed. It will come with a certificate. It will be in a dark glass container, jar with a narrow neck to stop it from oxidizing. The cooking oils that you buy in the supermarket that are in either clear glass or plastic containers, they are second or third grade cold pressed oils. And what happens is after they've broken up the vegetation, it goes over into the next vat and is pressed with a hammer-like cold press. There's vegetation still in the bottom of this big container, and then they heat up that hammer and push it down, and the oils are actually burnt. So what they then do is bleach them and sell them off as cheap cooking oils. So when you're looking for a cold pressed oil to use as your carrier oil for blending essential oils with, you need to be sure that it comes with a certificate, that it says cold pressed first press. Okay, I hope that's clear. The next method is steam distillation, and this is done with water being heated up, sending it through the vegetation, twirling it around in some pipes, and of course water and oil don't mix, so therefore there's always a little tap on the top of the vial here indicated in number 9. You'll see a little tap there at the top of that container, and that's where the essential oils will sit, and that's how they drain off the essential oils, because the funny thing is pressure brings down, so water doesn't rise up and into that tap, so there's no way usually that the water will mix in with the essential oils. But then you're left over with all this aromatic water, and that goes up this pipe and indicated in number 10 here, and that travels off to a different type of container where they make their hydrosols and floral waters, and those waters can be very healing as well. But what you have to be careful of is that the suppliers then don't always sell that in its natural state. They'll add chemicals and preservatives and all sorts of other things to aromatic waters. So again, you need to be very, very careful who you're purchasing these products from. The next method I want to discuss with you is the solvent extraction method. This is where they use alcohol and other substances and they heat up the vegetation sitting in this substance and again divide it off into becoming essential oils or absolutes. This is not one of my favorite methods to purchase when I'm purchasing essential oils, and this method makes a much thicker consistency, and again, like the CO2, very, very strong essential oils. Absolutes are also very hard to work with when you're the new kid on the block when it comes to blending essential oils. So I would be looking at steam distilled oils when you're first starting out. Enfleurage. Some of us would have had grandparents that did this at home, but this is not commonly done today for a selling product for the end user to use, which is a bit of a shame. I loved doing this with my grandparents, and you could do this very easily at home with your children or for yourself or with your grandchildren or even your great-grandchildren. It's a lovely method of extracting oils to make ointments or moisturizers. What happens is that they have these squares of glass or oblong pieces of glass that have a frame around them. They cover that with like a lard type substance, which is an animal fat, and then meticulously place all the little flowers onto the fat. Then they cover it and put it in a cupboard for a couple of weeks. Then they take the cover off, pick all the flowers off the screen, and then scrape that lard that is infused with all those beautiful aromas and healing properties of the plants and put it into a dark glass jar and keep it in a cool cupboard, never in the fridge. And we'll talk about that later. Okay, so this machine here measures and tells you and gives you a readout of all the different chemicals that are inside a drop of essential oil. I'm not sure of the amount of oil that they put into this machine, and I should look that up, but sorry, I don't know. But let's say they put half a kilo of essential oil into this machine. To get a true reading, the machine needs to run through that oil over and over and over again for up to 48 hours. Now, some suppliers will only pay for a half-hour reading to get a little bit of an idea of the main chemical components that are in that essential oil, because the stronger components evidently come out in the reading first, and then you get all the smaller quantities of the different types of chemicals. When you purchase an essential oil from a reputable dealer, you can actually ask for the gas reading, the data on that particular essential oil. And that's what I always do. When I purchase an essential oil, I ask for the batch date. And if I already have all the information for that batch date, I don't bother. But if I don't have that information, I ask for the data on the oil that I'm purchasing. Now, earlier I said that I would explain a little bit more about first grade essential oils, and this is where our journey begins. So, on the left here, you'll see people they're actually picking cotton, and they're there in the field picking the cotton tops off the plants. To the right, you see a big truck with another truck with a container on it. And what happens is that orange coloured truck, it goes through and it has propelled cutters that just go through the field and cut all the vegetation down. So in that you're getting dust and dirt and probably cow manure and heaven only knows what else, twigs and bits and pieces. And then when that smaller truck with all the vegetation, it gets back to the factory, sometimes they just sit a distilling type object on top of that container and distill the oils that way. Some companies will only sell that as a fragrant oil, and so lots of chemicals are added to it, but others will use that method of cutting and distilling plants and add it to a better quality distilled oil and sell it to you as an essential oil. So again, this is why you need to be very, very careful about where you're buying your essential oils from. So this is a more up-to-date photograph, and this is how oils are produced in various grades. So on the left, you will see that the pickers are there probably very, very early in the morning at sunup, picking just the flowering heads off the plants. Then the truck comes through that same farm and takes not the roots, but takes the twigs, the branches, the flowering tops and everything, and that goes into another truck for a totally different type of oil to be manufactured. So there definitely is grades of essential oils, and you should definitely be looking for essential oils where the company has lots of certificates, but then you need to read about the different oils that they're selling, because they may be selling at least 10 different types of lavender oil. So when you do your aromatherapy course, this is explained to you in more detail. But just for the end user who worries about some companies ripping them off where the price is concerned, that's not always the case, because there is first grade, second grade, and then other essential oils that can be easily adulterated. So it's just so important to buy from a company that's telling you exactly that it's a reconstituted oil or it's aromatherapy grade essential oil. Soil types, climate, and this all comes down to photosynthesis. Now, that's important because, like, for instance, here in Australia, lavender grown in our mainland, in like Queensland, Northern Territory, and places like that, that kind of lavender can only be used as dried lavender or lavender that goes into soaps and cosmetics. But lavender grown in Tasmania on an estate called, I think they're called Bridgestow, I think I've got the name here somewhere, yeah, Bridgestow Estate in Tasmania, they particularly grow their lavender because they have the right photosynthesis, such as the right amount of rain, the right climate, the right soil to produce an essential oil that is very, very high in sesquiterpenes, and it makes it a very wonderful, amazing healing oil. So here's a small diagram on photosynthesis, and I'm sure you learned a bit about this at school, that we need rain and sun and CO2 in the atmosphere to produce the various kinds of soils and plants. Sunlight, funny enough, always has the colours of the rainbow in it, pelting down and vibrating and being reflective with soils and plants, but we only see it when there's a rainbow. The colour black in anything, so this is why you need to think very seriously when you put on black clothes or add black furniture to your room or put on a very dark roof tile or dark roof colour on your home, because black absorbs colour and it's not reflective, so all those beautiful colours are not bouncing in and bouncing out. It just absorbs them, keeps them, heats up, and causes heat problems. It does the same with your personality. You're grabbing energy and you're keeping it instead of working with life and letting things flow. So you need to wear more colour. Now, what size essential oil should you buy? They come in so many different sizes, like from 5 ml through to big kilo bottles. When you're first starting out, it's important just to have lots of essential oils, at least 10, so that you can experience the aromas and the healing properties, and study those 10 oils that you have there in your beginner's kit. So I always recommend that you just buy small bottles, and there's many reasons why you should just buy small bottles, but we'll cover that in the next slide. Over here I have a perfume compound. Now, think about it. In a 5 ml bottle of essential oil, you probably have around 120 eyedroppers of essential oil in a small bottle. So if you're making a perfume compound and you're adding all of these different oils and you're only putting 1 drop of amyris and 3 of frankincense, 3 of palmarosa, 2 of peppermint, 1 of orange, 4 of pure balsam, etc., you really don't need a large bottle of essential oil, because look, you're only using all these small drops, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. So here's your blending table, and this explains a little more about what we just spoke about with you purchasing small bottles of oils to start with. Let's say you had a 100 ml size bottle, which is approximately this size. I'll put my hand next to it so you can see how big it is. And you want to make a massage blend or a cleanser, cleanser mainly, or massage blend, or a moisturizer you would make in this size bottle. You're going to fill it up to here, to where the bottle changes shape, with a base oil such as olive oil, jojoba, coconut oil, one of those oils. But for a cleanser, it's better to use olive oil, of course. There are many different base oils. For the body, you're only going to add 50 drops of essential oil into this 100 ml bottle of base oil. But if it's a face product, such as a moisturizer that you're going to apply to your face, it's better to dilute that down to half a quantity, and you just put 25 drops of essential oil. So if you consider the fact that you're only going to use 1 or 2 oils, you might put, say, 12 drops of rose geranium and 12 or 13 drops of, it's another good oil for your face, clary sage. However, I wouldn't put 12 drops of clary sage in there, but maybe I would put 20 drops of rose geranium and 5 drops of another oil such as clary sage, because clary sage is very, very good for helping to stimulate collagen in your skin and keep it young and stop it from wrinkling. However, gravity will always make you look like you've got wrinkles, but you can keep them soft looking so that they're not deep and hard looking wrinkles with the oil clary sage. So you need, this is probably the most important chart that you need. This chart plus your contraindication list are the 2 most important things that you must have when blending essential oils. Essential oils are nil by mouth. You cannot drink or eat essential oils because they are way too strong. It can take 10 acres of rose petals just to make up a kilo of essential oil. So then if you're buying a 10 ml bottle of that, you know, you've got a huge amount of roses in there that you couldn't sit and eat in a day, all in that one little bottle. But more importantly, because of the way they're distilled, they can burn the esophagus and other organs in your body and sit and lay in your liver and not move through your liver. When they get to your liver, they can just sit there, and then other things that are pumping through your liver have got to pass over that little hard little ball that becomes hard, just like a piece of sand in the ocean, keeps washing up on shore and can eventually become a rock. Or that happens in rivers. This blending chart is extremely important and you must know it off by heart. If you're only going to make a little, I don't have a 5 ml bottle here, but I have a 30 ml bottle. If I was putting 30 ml of carrier oil such as olive oil or jojoba or coconut in this bottle, and I was making a face moisturizer, then I would only put about 12 drops in total of essential oils in here. So you can't put 12 drops of lavender and 12 drops of rose geranium and 12 drops of another oil. It must be 12 drops in total, and that's what we call a compound. So you have a compound of your essential oils and you have your blending oil. I hope that's clear. It'll become clearer. So in the previous chart, we had a blending table. Well, that blending table is for adults only. And adults, we tend to think of adults as people over 12 years of age. Under 12 years of age, say between the ages of 7 and 12, you would always use the face blending table, which, as you saw in the previous chart, for your body, you could add in this size bottle, 100 ml bottle, your 100 ml of olive oil, excuse me, and 50 drops. But for your face, you use the 100 ml of olive oil or jojoba or almond oil, and you only add 25 drops of essential oil. Same with children. Bring the dilutions down to half. But when a woman is pregnant, it becomes a whole different ball game. And I've given you this chart here to tell you that in a 100 ml bottle, after the 3rd month, you can only add about 6 to 10 drops. And I think less is best, so I would only add 3 drops probably for someone in from their 4th month to their 9th month of pregnancy. Then there are special types of oils that you can use to help and assist them get through labour, and those are in my full blending and contraindications chart that I have on my website, and I'll explain more about that later. Babies, I don't use essential oils on babies. However, smell therapy is okay for babies, so like putting 1 drop of lavender on their pillow slip. But that's a whole different video, and I'm going to make a video Not that I'm good at it, but I'm good with information. So if you can bear with this old girl while she stumbles through explaining things and having trouble getting her thoughts from her brain to her mouth, then I will make a video for pregnancy and newborn babies and the products that you can use on babies, and you don't need to add any essential oils to them. So you've heard it 1,000 times. When in doubt, don't. When making decisions about anything, if you're doubtful about the decision you're making, don't do it. And the same goes with your pets when blending for pets and when blending for your pregnancy or your baby. With babies, I'm always in doubt. I don't feel that there's been enough research on essential oils for me to feel safe to give it to my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. So for me, it's when in doubt, don't. Just move this down a little bit so you can see my hands, because they also tell a story. With animals, you have to be extremely important, and please do not diffuse oils in the same room where your baby is or where your animals are, especially your birds. Essential oils are amazing healers. They do amazing things, and I am always overjoyed when I'm able to make a mix for someone to help them with their healing and explain how to add herbs and different other things into their life as well, because the use of essential oil is just one method of healing, and it goes hand in hand with other methods. But just because essential oils are amazing, more amazing than the plant that they came from, there's still going to be contraindications, such as, if someone has epileptic fits, you cannot use basil, eucalyptus, fennel, peppermint, and rosemary. And there's reasons why. And I explain that in my book, which the last book was called The Alluring Journey of, forgotten the name, but anyway, The Alluring Study of Aromatherapy. And I'm currently writing a book for students. But the good news is, rather than bore you today with all the contraindications, read up on them. What oils you can and can't use in certain situations. And that you can get for free on skinsex.com.au/essential oil blending. The contraindications are right down on the end of that particular page, but please do not start blending oils if you don't know what you're doing, because some oils could harm people. So you're making this beautiful blend to give someone maybe a blended organic perfume or a massage blend or an oil cleanser, and they have a particular type of illness and you're harming them. So know your contraindications, such as when I was younger, I couldn't use lavender because I had very low blood pressure when I was young, slim and beautiful. But as I'm getting older, I can now use lavender because I have high blood pressure because I've eaten too many chocolates in my life. So people's bodies change as well. So you need to check on the contraindications according to a person's age. Okay, so off you go. Go to my website and download the contraindications file and the essential oil blending file. This is the most important thing that you can ever do. Once you have bought an essential oil and you want to blend it with something to make a cleanser, a toner, a moisturizer, or whatever, you need to know how to blend it, but more importantly, you need to know the contraindications of the oil that you're going to be using. Now imagine if I kept using lavender oil all of my life. If I'd began using lavender oil early in my life when I had low blood pressure, I could have killed myself. So it is important to understand the contraindications. Now, knowing what kind of bottles you should store your blends in once you have made them is also extremely important. They must always be dark coloured glass. Now, also, you need to buy those from a very good supplier, because I bought some bottles off eBay about 3 decades ago or so, and when the bottles arrived, the colour had been sprayed on the glass inside and out. So, once again, trust your suppliers. Coloured glass needs to be glass that has been impregnated with colour before they manufacture the bottle. Another very important thing is the top part of your bottle needs to be a narrow neck, and you also need to put a drippolator in the top of the bottle so that the oil blend doesn't oxygenate. So dark glass, narrow neck with a drippolator in. They're the important rules about when you're making a blend. Storing your essential oils should always be in a timber box. So not a box like the photo down here on the left that is open and just has all those lovely little compartments and leaves a space for a base oil there. But the thing is that that's not helping keep extra light away from your oils, and light destroys essential oils, and it's not helping to keep them cool and dust free. And it's important to keep your bottles dust free as well. Now here's some more information about what temperatures do to essential oils and the reason why you shouldn't store them in the refrigerator. And this information can be read at your leisure. Remember to store them in dark glass bottles in a cupboard inside a timber box. Deciding what type of blend and the purpose of your blend is also important. I have written a couple of books that could help you with learning about essential oils. Is my alluring study of aromatherapy for healers and perfumers, and it lists about 40 different oils and all the properties of the oils, and gives you lots more information to begin your aromatherapy journey. I've also written a book on making perfumes. It'll cover both organic perfumes and synthetic perfumes, and the importance of not wearing perfumes on your skin. So back to blending purposes. We may be making blends for a diffuser, an inhaler for a massage product, skincare, perfume, cuts, burns, abrasions, and so on. My passion is smell therapy. With smell therapy, you can make little blends out of a compound and put them in tiny little 2 ml or 3 ml bottles, or in your perfume pendant to smell throughout the day for many different reasons. For lifting your mood, if you've got depression, you would put bergamot and orange and patchouli and lavender into a blend and wear that on your perfume pendant, or just sniff it each morning to help lift your mood and to help prevent depression. For meditation, you may use an oil such as lavender and frankincense mixed together. Again, patchouli is a good one for meditation. If you're using a blend for your memory, then sniffing rosemary or sniffing basil is absolutely brilliant. And there are lots of other reasons that you would make oils for smell therapy. But decide on your purpose, what you're making it for, and then go back to your blending chart And if you're making the massage oil, remember it's 50 drops of essential oil in 100 ml of carrier oil. If you're making it for the face, a moisturizer for the face, it's 100 ml of maybe a jojoba oil or apricot oil, and you just put 25 drops, but you need to go back to your blending chart and check. Now, with the diffuser and inhalations, totally different. For an inhalation, if you've got flus, colds, or you've just been down the supermarket and you're worried that you've been mixing with someone who may have had COVID, then an inhalation is the best thing to do. As soon as you come home from the supermarket, you get a bowl or a saucepan of boiling hot water, allowed to cool for a moment or two, but it needs to be boiled to be purified, and you can just add 1 drop of eucalyptus oil or 1 drop of lemon oil, and then put a towel over your head and breathe in those vapors for at least 5 to 10 minutes until that water is so cool it's no longer giving off any steam or major healing properties. Inhalations, you can just take, as I said, 1 drop, 2 at most, straight from an essential oil bottle and into that saucepan of hot water. Put the towel over your head, breathe it in. Healing, it's done. Diffusers, you don't need to blend oils with a base oil for a diffuser. Again, you can just put a drop of this and a drop of that in your diffuser. Know your essential oils and know the purpose of the smell aroma that comes from that oil. So smelling essential oils has just as many healing powers as making a tropical application such as a moisturizer or a massage oil. So here we have another chart that breaks down what you do with your diffusing oils, inhalation, massage oils, skincare, etc. Just a little more. So we won't go over that because we already covered this in the previous slide. And remember, you can have this free PDF file to have a look at these notes. So in this slide, I'm just going over again that you need to know that there is a difference between essential oils and fragrance oils. Fragrance oils derive from the same plants as essential oils, but they're manufactured very, very differently. And of course, they're a fraction of the price of essential oils. So just remember, there's a huge difference between fragrance oils and essential oils, and buy essential oils for healing. Fragrance oils are not good in smell therapy either, so don't purchase them for smell therapy. But if you're going to be making soaps, or other things, you could possibly use fragrance oils. I would never. If I'm making candles or soaps or other products, always use the essential oils. When you're going to actually make smell therapy, massage oils, face creams or lotions or whatever, it is important to put everything on your bench ready. The size bottle, the beakers for measuring, such as you would use, have a 100 ml beaker there if you're going to making a large bottle, because 100 ml or 50 ml or 30 ml of carrier oil will go into the blend first, so you'd need a beaker that size ready for your carrier oil. Your smaller beakers or little Pyrex measuring cups here are what you're going to put your essential oil compound into. And remember, a compound is the mix of essential oils. It becomes a blend when you put that compound of essential oils that you've chosen into the carrier oil. So this is just about reminding you to be well organized and to also
be in a good mood. So this slide is just to recapture things that we've already been over, such as your blending quantities, the type of bottle, the size of the bottle, where you fill the bottle to. So this slide is a reminder that once you've made your blend, or perhaps before you make your blend, you need to check the contraindications. Now, especially if you're going to go on and make blends for other people, this is very important because you will check the oils that you have put into your blend, and then on the label, you need to put warnings, such as a warning that is on all bottles is not suitable if you are in your first trimester of pregnancy, if you have, for instance, low blood pressure, you would not use lavender, and you need to check the contraindications. The contraindications list can be downloaded from my website, skinsex.com.au, and then you click on the little tag that says essential oils and you read the things there that it tells you about essential oils, or you purchase one of my books. So making compounds for perfumes is very easy, but this is something that you can have a read through when you download the PDF file. I just thought I would put some information in here for you. Now, if you're going to be making organic perfumes, there are lots of little things that you need to know. But remember, I advocate all perfume should be worn in a perfume pendant and not on the skin, especially those perfumes that you're buying in store. So that's it for today, and I trust you found this information helpful. If you want to hear more from this old granny, I know that I talk slow because I'm thinking of all the things that I know and I'm trying to condense it down into what I just need to tell you so that this doesn't become too long and too boring. But if you need other information or you need to contact me or you need to ask me some questions, and I'm happy to answer all emails for free or to answer questions on my Facebook pages. Here you have my Facebook address and my email address, as well as my website address. Please like and subscribe, and thank you very, very much for watching today, and I do hope you have learnt something. Over and out. Till next time.